Hey everyone, we're going to go and break down your carving to see where you can improve. First of all, I must say, there's a lot to like about your carving here. You're holding a good line for a majority of the turns, and you're getting nice and low, really utilizing that bending down and weighting yourself over that edge. So what I really like is this last toe side turn where you come in and you put more pressure into your toe edge and you actually start accelerating right here. That is awesome to see. We want to be accelerating coming out of all of our turns. So we're going to talk about how you can go and do that, and as a result of doing that, you're also going to get rid of a lot of that heel side chatter. So the reason why you're chattering on your heels is a couple fronts. First of all, you're going and turning at a really sharp radius. So how carving on your snowboard works, it works a lot like drifting a car, where when you're going into the turn, if you start doing the turn too sharp for the amount of traction you have, you're going to start skirting out and losing that traction control. The same as a car. If you take a corner too fast for the amount of traction you have with your car, you're going to go and start sliding out and getting that chatter. So there's two things you can do. You can either go and slow down your carve radius, making it larger, making it so you don't need as much traction, or the one we're going to focus on today is adding more traction to your edge. So the reason why you don't have maximum traction on your edge right now, even though you're bent in your legs, is because you're holding a stagnant position. When going and bending down like this will go and put more pressure over your edge. It doesn't go and do it as much as if you started fully tall and then let yourself squat down into this position. So that's what we're going to need to improve on. We want to go and start each turn in a tall position and then squat down into the turn that will keep loading and building pressure on the edge. And then when you're coming out of the next turn, you stand tall again. So it's going to be tall, turn, squatting, 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 tall, turn, squatting, 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 squatting. And the lowest point of your squat will be the highest point of your pressure and acceleration. As soon as you hold it stagnant, it's going to start lessening the pressure because you're not pushing down into it. So it's a difference between pushing down versus just having your weight on your edge. So that's how you want to be timing your turns. You want to be timing it so when you're finishing the turn, you're raising your legs up, lifting, unweighting your edge, what's going to go and make it easier to transition edges. And then once you're on your edge, locked in, that's when you start squatting down and loading your weight. I'm going to do a little demonstration here. Don't have the best camera set up, but should be good enough. Let me just get it set up. All right. So currently for your turns, you're keeping this bent position and you're turning into it, maybe getting a little more bent out, but you don't have much range of motion. Instead, what I want you to do is start every turn tall. So when you're starting the turn, you're tall, get on that edge and then sink down into that edge. The more you sink, the more pressure you're going to load. It's like pushing down on something. When you squat down, you're actively pushing down, putting more pressure onto that edge. So your carving should more look like this. Tall, squatting down, squatting down, squatting down, squatting down, finishing the turn, lifting up, unweighting and weighting is what we call it. I'll demonstrate a bit on the side here. So if I'm doing a heel side turn, I go get tall, switch to my heel edge, then sink down into it. And the more I sink, the more pressure I start putting, and that's when I can start really accelerating the turn, really opening up into it, and really just putting my weight into it. But if I go and start in the seated position and try to put weight into it right away, it's not going to go and give me much, it's going to make me scuttle. So it's about getting that smooth transfer of weight, that smooth transfer of weighting your edge. So I'll just do a little demonstration here. It's a little clumsy if I had a snowboard on, but my ideal carving, I'm starting tall in my stacked position, going for a heel side edge, switch to the heels, get down onto the heels, switch up to the toes, onto the toes, get onto it and load that edge. So it's this up and down motion that you want to go and incorporate into your turns, because you're down and your position that you're holding for that, super good, looks really money. Now that we have that out of the way, let's go and watch your carving one more time and just pay attention to how much your legs are bending up and down, because I really think that's going to be what will take your carving to the next level. So there you're doing it a little bit, but you're not doing it as exaggerated as you could. The more exaggerated you do it, the more power it's going to give you, especially for these last turns, you're not really doing it much at all. A little bit still, So I don't want you to go and think like, oh, I'm carving all wrong. You're really close. We just need to exaggerate these motions and exaggerate how much pressure we're putting on the edge if we want to go and get those tight heel edge turns. The other option is just going and making it so your turns are a little less tight, and that's going to remove a lot of that chatter, or more grippy snow, sharper edges. Anything to give you more traction will go and help that. So I hope that was educational, and give it a go and let me know if you need any more help.